Welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T.
Football.
We need the football on the show because this is the College Football Show. Alongside Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza, I am Sam Ravech. We are so glad that you are here with us. You are in the right spot because we have a lot to break down from what was a completely chaotic Week 13 in the College Football Show. I never want to hear, by the way, a bad slate or a quote-unquote bad slate.
That's what you guys were saying this week in our meeting preparing for this show.
Well, I didn't say that I was the one that didn't say it.
Oh, okay,
I was just
all right.
saying I don't want to hear it anymore. That was all I was saying. But it seems like with 2 weeks left in conference play that some conference races are actually getting more blurrier instead of clear. We're looking at you, Big 12 and SEC. We are going to also go deep and dive into what happened in the Colorado and Kansas game, which was played at Arrowhead Stadium, Scoop.
Yeah, in the first quarter, Jayhawks had the ball first, and Devin Neal, look at him move. He's a smooth operator. The guy is huge, and he can move well. It was his senior night, and he was all on the senior night vibes. So we'll go to the second quarter now. Kansas up 10. Neal says, respect your elders. Today is my day. Kansas up 17-0. This is now 3 straight weeks where Colorado has trailed by double digits in the first half. So we'll still stay in the second. Deion's trying to get his crew all riled up. Y'all need to get focused.
He's like, hey, we want to stop the run anytime soon?
Yeah, so why not? Get your 2 best players working. Deion Sanders to Travis Hunter, and he's too fast, too furious. Man, he's too fast for y'all. Colorado cuts a lead to 10. Take another look. His brother's a problem, y'all, because this is the reason why he's in that Heisman conversation.
And a future Jansen with the Stars champion as well.
Yeah, he's got that for him. He's got that going for him.
Yeah, 10th receiving touchdown of the season. And Colorado down 17-7 at this point. Later in the second, a lot of action there. Sanders finds Drelon Miller for the touchdown. Shout out to those who watch the Pell Show. They know what I'm talking about right there. First player in Colorado history to throw for 30 touchdowns. That's Shedeur. Nice little throw over here, right? Colorado down 6 at this point. We go to the third quarter now. Bust down 23-14. Sanders delivers a dime. Travis Hunter, the guy does it all. And of course, he's going to hit that Heisman pose. Yes, sir. TJ, run it back for us so we can see this again. Nat, what you think, man? What you think?
Whole shot right there. Just a beautiful touch pass over the corner defender there by Shedeur, and then Travis doing the rest as he always does.
So Devin Neal says, let me do the rest. You might be the Heisman favorite, but I'm playing like the best player in the country in this game. Second player in Big 12 history with 150 yards rushing, 75 receiving yards, and 4 scrimmage touchdowns in a game versus an AP-ranked opponent.
Yeah.
Neal had himself a day. Jayhawks would score another Devin Neal touchdown to lead 37-21. So Sanders is trying to make something happen here on 4th and 21. No dice, no good.
Yep.
Kansas wins it 37-21. Devin Neal had 37 carries, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 catches for 80 yards, and a touchdown. Travis Hunter had himself a day too. 8 for 125 and 2 touchdowns. Heck of a game.
Yeah.
A lot of people were on the Colorado train, and a lot of people have covered Colorado this year. So we're going to bring in one of our smartest people to help us do so. Clinton Yates, my boy, joins the College Football Show. We appreciate you coming in here, Clinton.
How we doing today, boys? Pretty exciting Saturday on the gridiron.
Yeah, it was, look, in Colorado, look, you wrote a great article. It's out on Anscape right now. I highly recommend everyone go read it. It is titled The Hater's Guide to Deion Sanders. The detractors and the haters are going to be out after this performance, Clinton, but what do you make of the game?
Yeah. I thought that this was a tough game for them. They got dominated in so many ways physically. I mean, their run defense couldn't stop anybody. And credit to Kansas, by the way, beating 3 straight ranked teams in a row. That team looked like a football team that we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season, who many people picked to win that conference outright. They stumbled early and have found their form late. Now, that being said, Colorado also had a lot of their flaws sort of exposed in terms of their inability to really compete with anybody if they don't get a lead and if they don't get Travis out to a good start. You saw that flag that didn't get called against him in the first quarter. That almost seemed to throw off the whole offense for the rest of the game. But yeah, Kansas beat Colorado in a day in which they controlled their fate to the Big 12. They're still obviously going to make a bowl game, which is another discussion we'll get to. But yeah, Jayhawks did it at Arrowhead. Impressive win.
I don't want this to sully what has been otherwise an incredibly successful season for Deion. But guys, when it comes to Deion, for me at least, it's not just that Deion is doing things his own way, quote unquote, whatever way that is, it's Deion's way. It's not just that he's doing it, it's that he's doing it and he's having success, Clinton. And I think that's what makes people really mad. And you alluded to some of that in your article.
Yeah, and the one thing I think that got a little bit blown out of proportion is a little bit of a reading is fundamental element here. What I said was, you're going to have a hard time convincing me that there's a better coach in America right now than Deion Sanders. And let's just take your pick as to what metric you want to use for that. If you want to use national championships, okay, let's start with Mac Brown, one of the guys who still got one, who's still here in North Carolina. Let's start with Dabo Swinney, and let's start with, obviously, Kirby Smart. I don't need to tell you what's going on around the Georgia program to let me know that Kirby Smart is not somebody that I want to look up to on a pedestal regarding keeping people safe. Dabo Swinney has barely figured out how to work the NIL and the portal, so that to me sort of feels like he's behind the times on everything. And Mac Brown is a legend. God bless UNC, but let's be real about what the modern game is. That's my point. If you look around this landscape, Nick Saban ain't walking through that door. It's not like there's some ton of guys with a ton of rings doing everything so well that when you really stack it up, there's tons of arguments against a guy like Prime, who's had so many different people turn over in that program, brought a lot of excitement, and this season has the wins to boot to bring pride back to a program that isn't just out of nowhere. They have rings there. There is a standard at Colorado. I just think that college football has really done itself a disservice by fans who simply have a problem with the man not being able to look at what's happened with the program. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's been electric and there's been nothing but positivity.
Yeah, one thing I've definitely noticed about Colorado ever since Deion got there, people either love Colorado or they hate Colorado. There's really no in between of how you feel about him. But for those that really enjoy watching this team play, now that they get this loss against Kansas, their college football playoff hopes are kind of up in the air. Would you still determine this season as a success with how they've handled everything? Or do you look at this as something like, all right, they fell a little bit short of their goals because people had Colorado all over the place?
They might have a number one pick in Shedeur Sanders. It's a lock as far as I'm concerned. The 12 is going to get the Heisman Trophy. They're going to go to a bowl game, and 100-year-old Peggy is going to be there with them. I understand that there are people that think that wins and losses are the only thing that matter in sports. But as far as I'm concerned, this is really what the sport is about. Of course, this season is a success. 4 wins last year, 1 year the year before. Yeah. This could still have been a 10-win season. There are teams in that conference that have never had one in their history. Iowa State, I'm talking to you. God bless them. What I'm saying is that a lot of people seem to put their own random standards on something. If you spent any time in Boulder, which I did quite a bit last year, I covered 3 or 4 games and talked to all people all over the place. They're loving it. Why does this need to all of a sudden be? Because there's one coach who happens to be in the Pro and College Football Hall of Fame, some standard that we're not holding anybody else to across the country. For me, this story has been the best story in college football for a couple seasons now, because if you know the people on the ground, you know the people affected by that program, them going to a bowl game is going to be far more exciting than some of these other random bowls that you're going to see that allegedly are going to count for more.
There's been some rumors going around that obviously Shedeur, he's going to the pros. He's going to be a top 5 pick or the first pick. And some other people have even mentioned that his father is going with him. How concerned are you that Deion, although great for college football, might be on his way to the NFL already in an all too soon moment?
This is a 2-parter. Number one, has any of those people who said they're going to the pros been Deion Sanders? Because last time I checked, it hasn't. And number two, I don't think anybody in Boulder cares. Listen, if you get the opportunity to have somebody like that come through town, the amount of money that guy has been involved in terms of the finances of the city, never mind the school, the fact that enrollment has gone through the roof. They're making changes to Folsom Field, which, by the way, is also 100 years old. I don't consider it a big concern because I wouldn't consider that untoward. If you go to a place and you do what you said you were going to do, which is restore some level of pride, get some wins, put you back on the map, and then you decide to move on, some people call that the American way. And as far as I'm concerned, this has been as good of a run as any college coach has had, at least in the last 10 years that I can think of, that didn't come out with something terrible happening on the back end in the wash. Maybe they haven't gotten as many wins as people assume should have been there, but otherwise, the guy's running a great program. He's rehabilitating lives in terms of coaches like Warren Sapp. He's touching the community. What more do you want? out of a college football coach. I just don't get the problem.
Let him
Why
cook.
people want to hate this?
My brother came on here to cook. That's what I like. Cam, did you have some coffee or some Celsius right before coming on to this hit?
It's the
Well, I'm
truth.
saying, hold on, quickly, yo. I mean, here's the thing, quickly. It's not about me being some over-the-top Prime fan. That's not even the point. The point is that to a man, if you actually analyze the different things that people have criticisms with and break them down one for one, they all kind of fall apart if you look at who else is around the country. We're not going to hold one guy to a standard that's so random just because you know who he is, but then all these other dudes moving around, they can do whatever they want and just like, oh, well, yeah, that's what happens at that program. Make it make sense, y'all. If you're going to try to be smart, at least show your work. Come on, kiddos.
Or at least have the same standards of scrutiny. I think it's a great point, Clinton. And whether Deion is going to be in the college game or whether he's going to be in the NFL, look, Curt Cignetti said earlier today, all good things must come to an end. And sometimes it might come to an end. But Deion has been great for college football. We are certainly on that bandwagon as well. Clinton, thank you so much for your journalism. It is a beacon of the sport as well. We appreciate it, Clinton. Thanks.
Absolutely, boys. Have a great show.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, things went a little bit crazy in Tempe today with BYU in town.
Let's stay in the Big 12.
Yeah, guys, you're gonna want to stay around for the end of this game because things got a little bit crazy. But we're gonna start here. First couple of minutes in the game, Kim Skubie running right in easily for the 3-yard gain. He's the best running back you probably have not heard of. We go to the second quarter, 4 minutes left. Arizona State still up 7-0. Skubie again running into the end zone. BYU just does not have an answer for him. Sun Devils up 14-0. Skubie again. What impresses you about him, Eddie?
I just love the physicality in which he runs with, and also, too, just the fact that Kenny continues to go to him and give him those opportunities. And that one to go up 14 before, that was off an onside kick that they called. So great job just winning in all three phases early.
They're up 21-0. Finally, we get a incredible throw from Sam Levitt, who, by the way, had to battle with Jaden Rashada at the start of the year, and actually Levitt was winning that out. Might have been a reason Rashada transferred to Georgia. But BYU, Jake Retzlaff finding JoJo Phillips. It's 28-17. We go to the fourth. 8:50 left. Little razzle-dazzle. Keelan Marion runs it in for the 1-yard score. Cougars starting to climb from behind. 28-23. Game on the line. Retzlaff throws a pick straight to the defender. 64 yards. All the way down to the 6-yard line. And at this point, we're like, game's over, right?
Yep.
Levitt, trying to kill the clock here, throws it sky high into the stands. It's ticking down 1 second, 0. All right, game's over. Game's over, right?
No.
We got fans storming the field.
We got 1
Kenny
second on the
Dillingham
clock.
Celebrating.
What are y'all doing?
It would go to review, and this was one of the funnier pictures of the entire game. We had the referees standing around the video review. Anyways, they clear the fans away. There's 1 second left. BYU, Retzlaff with a shot at a Hail Mary here. He's going to get it up. It's a good throw down to the 1-yard line. It's caught, but he's tackled 2 yards short.
That was crazy.
Wow, what a finish. Now the fans can officially storm the field. About 20 minutes delayed, but nonetheless, Arizona State protects Tempe. They take down BYU. The Cougs lose 2 in a row in back-to-back weeks. Arizona State right now in the driver's seat at 6-2. There are 3 teams sitting at 6-2 in the Big 12 if you include Colorado in there. Another incredible game from Skubie. Let's start here. We'll get to the implications that this held for the Big 12 standings at large. We got to talk about Arizona State because this was a team, and Kenny Dillingham, that was picked to finish dead last. Dead last in the preseason standings in a program that has just been rife with controversy, whether it be the NCAA sanctions that they've had to deal with over the last several years. And here they are, atop the Big 12. How does it happen, Maddie?
How does it happen? Well, first of all, everyone just paying attention to all the other drama that was going on, especially because of Colorado, BYU, what they were doing. We were, myself, even just kind of handing Colorado the Big 12 championship because I thought they were the hottest team out there. And then you take a second look at the stands and you're like, Arizona State haven't been paying too much attention to what they've been doing, but they've been racking up wins. They're being consistent. Kenny Dillingham does a really good job of managing the football game despite how scary it was late in this football game. In theory, it was a lot of good thoughts to close out a game. The execution, a little questionable of it, but quarterback's a tough football player. The way that they go about just developing their offense around Jordan Tyson and Cam Skubie is awesome. And if you're a young quarterback and looking for a good place to go, I mean, Kenny knows how to dial it up. We've seen this multiple times. Their defense is a question mark. Well, the good thing is that's the problem with everybody in the Big 12.
Right.
Nobody really has a great defense in the Big 12. The best defense is on a Utah football team. So Arizona State is a competitor, of course, at the top of the list right now. And it's really anybody's game. It's amazing how this happened the past few weeks.
Obviously, it was a crazy ending there in Tempe, and BYU now loses their second straight. And the Big 12 is, for lack of a better word, they're drunk right now. Everybody's drunk in the Big 12 because it's just such chaos from top to bottom. And we were getting stats from our stats and information group saying that there's going to be 8 teams that are alive in the Big 12 title race come the final week of the regular season, Scoob. What does this loss mean for the conference writ large?
Well, it's concerning for the Big 12 altogether because right now nobody in the conference is in control of their own destiny. We're still trying to piece together what the scenarios are for the Big 12 and who's going to be in the Big 12 title game. And a lot of that is going to be determined by the result of the Iowa State game. We'll get that to you. Even our own ESPN stats and information group is working on it right now as we speak. We got our nerds working on this, trying to get it down. But for the Big 12, man, we talked about this before, where that conference is struggling so much this season that Boise State has now taken over that first-round bye situation. And for BYU, you were bounced in the back of the standings last week after you lost to Kansas, who's a good team, by the way. They just beat Colorado. And the reason being, you've escaped with wins a lot this season. So thought they could get another chance here to win. They were down 21-3 at half, and then they just couldn't get back into the game against Arizona State.
Credit to Arizona State, too, has gotten off to fast starts now each of the last 2 weeks. Go back to the other week against Iowa State. They got out to an early lead, or Kansas State, I should say. So Arizona State picks up the win there. That will do it for our Big 12 discussion because there was an incredible game, or was, in Columbus, Ohio today.
Y'all know it.
And it was prove-it time for Indiana and the Hoosiers. And early on in this game, guys, they didn't look like they were intimidated or fazed whatsoever. Got a 3-and-out on defense, scored on their opening drive to go up 7-0. But then some self-inflicted wounds on special teams did not help the Buckeyes. They would go on to score 31 unanswered points and cruise to their 30th straight win over the Hoosiers. Ryan Day said at postgame, Maddie, we wanted to leave no doubt, and I think it's safe to say that no doubt was left.
They did. And, you know, what I want to say for this football team, credit to them taking care of business, right? I'm a tough critic of Ohio State. I really am.
Yep.
But they reminded us again that the North runs through them. They're the team to beat. And I really look forward to their rematch against Oregon, because I think that is going to be phenomenal, and that we're also going to figure out a little bit more. Indiana gets a little bit of a pass today, of course, because some other rivals went down in the rankings, so they still might have some ground to stand on. But big picture, though, Ohio State, we saw against Penn State, we saw against Indiana. All right, Jim Knowles, what he does defensively, it's real simple. Let's be aggressive and get after the opposing team's quarterback. Let's get in the face of every skill guy we can, to the point where, hey, you can call pass interference, but we're just going to keep doing it. And I just love the physicality that they play with. Cody Simon, man, maybe the best linebacker in all of college football. I'm just telling you, this dude is all over the place. The physicality that they played with was legit. The different fronts was confusing Indiana. That's the one thing that Indiana did all year. They protected Kurtis Rourke as good as any quarterback. They did a great job of run blocking consistently. This Ohio State front seven dominated the football game, and that really was, I think, something that's special. And special teams with Caleb Downs, man, you know, that's hey, 3 phases, complimentary football. It's a real thing, and that's what Ohio State did today.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at what was happening on social media here in the Ohio State Stadium. They put Kurt Signetti up on the big board and said, Buckeyes win. Yeah. Google it. Because we know what Signetti says. He says, Google me, I win. And the trolling was going on. Even ESPN had their own fun. But Indiana got out to a quick start in this game. Damn. Hey, I love memes, and they're just nonstop. What else we got here? We were told that Indiana was a top-tier team in the nation. That's a lie. All right. Let me toss this question out there to you guys. How do you feel about Indiana after seeing them kind of get owned in this game? And I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate because Indiana fans will sit here and say 14 points from our special teams. We didn't play our best game. We should still be in it. Kurt Signetti even said in his presser, of course, we should still be in it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
Well,
that?
I'm glad that you asked that because that brings us to our next segment, which is I'm out for Can't Take the Heat, built by the Home Depot. Scoop, nice lead-in, but I will answer your question because I think there's a couple of ways that we can think about this whole Indiana conundrum.
Good word.
Let's start with, is Indiana just one of the best top 12 teams in the country? Because that's the question that you asked. Does Indiana deserve to be in that top 12 right now? I don't think that they do, based on what we saw today. Now, Ohio State, I think, could go on and win a national championship this year. I don't think there's any question about that. But
that's a great point.
Indiana has played 6 of the 7 worst teams in the conference. By the end of this season, they will have played 1 team in the top 5 of the Big Ten Conference. So I just don't think we're talking about schedule comparisons and where Indiana ranks amongst the Big Ten with Ohio State that's played 3 top 5 matchups already this season. I don't see it. I don't think that Indiana is one of the best 12 teams in the country right now, Matt.
One thing you and I said, Matt, as people who have played Madden before, that Indiana was a lot to make the college football playoff if they lost this game. However, if they got down by 21 and they had to pass the sticks, brother, you're not allowed to play the game anymore.
You got to go.
You got to go, Indiana. I love this story. We love underdog story. Nobody expected Indiana to be here. But look at how they were in the first half. 70 yards on the first drive. They came out hot. Got a 3-and-out for that Ohio State offense when they first got on the field. And it was a methodical drive. But then for the rest of the game, it was night-night. Ohio State said, that's enough, no more. And when I look at it, Ohio State, I got to give you credit. 3 phases. That's what it takes to win a football game. And I don't know if I should be sitting here trying to make excuses for Indiana, which I could if I want to, but I don't think they deserve it, Matt. And when you have other teams who have challenged themselves with the schedule, now granted, this isn't Indiana's fault that their schedule isn't as good.
Took care of business.
It's their fault. Their non-conference wasn't, though. I don't. That argument that like Indiana's they don't have control over their schedule. Now, I get Kurt's just getting in here, but like they do have control over part of their schedule.
They do. But no one, even Kurt, I don't think could have projected
probably not.
That
right,
that
in his first year,
successful in the first year. I mean, I know that. Hey, if you Google him, that's the facts. But big picture-wise, when clock hit 000 in this game, I was like, okay, moving on. Thank you, Indiana, for your service. It has been unbelievable to watch you. You have been super entertaining. You are well coached. You play hard. But I just don't know if you have enough Johnnies and Joes to really make a run for it in the college football playoff. That was at the end of the game. Now, the rest of the day happened today, and we saw a lot of questionable things happen, right? Including an Ole Miss game. So now I'm thinking, all right, Indiana, you have that second breath of life that I think because of the way the committee put you at the number 5 position
before they played this game.
Before they played this game, they still, I think, have that slim fighting chance. And, you know, the Big 12 being the disaster that it is today, that also helps them.
Ole Miss losing, that
Ole
helps.
Miss, the SEC, the Big 12.
Everybody collapsed today.
The ACC, we're
in a
pretty
sense,
sure only one team. So I think Indiana still has like the littlest of life.
You lost on the perfect week. You lost on a week where a lot of other teams lost, and some other teams didn't necessarily look great in their wins. And speaking of which, how about Penn State? They didn't look great in their game. Why don't we do the highlights and check out exactly how great they did? Because in the second quarter, with them down 10, Drew Aller finds wide open Omari Evans for a touchdown, 45-yard bomb. They cut the lead to 3 here. We go to later in the second. Halloween is over, but Minnesota wants tricks and the treats. Double reverse ends up as a reverse pass to Jamison Gears. That's a tutty. Gophers go up 17-10, but at halftime, after a Penn State touchdown, Minnesota returned the extra point on a blocked kick. and it was an even game. But the Gophers, they were running the ball well. But a play like this that got them in there to go up 17-10 is exactly the type of recipe that you need in order to pull off the upset.
You know, Penn State, up until this point, had won 3 games when trailing at the half. It was the most in FBS, and they had some more action in the second half.
Yeah, so let's check out the second half action. And the Lions were on the prowl. Nicholas Singleton, yeah, he's going to get in there. Reservations for 6. Penn State jumps back up 23-22. Yes, it was that close. We go to the fourth quarter now. Lions, we're going to close it out on 4th down, y'all. The game is here. Allen tries to run, but he's sneaky and finds who else but Tyler Warren. Yeah. Game, set, match. Penn State wins and survives by 1 point. And the conversation that continues to arise when it comes to Penn State is, who have you really beat? Because Minnesota, granted, they have a winning record. They're not necessarily a team that you want to talk about being a resume builder in the winning category. So after this game, how confident are we in Penn State? Because now that Indiana lost behind them, I think they're going to stay right where they are. I don't know. Maybe they move back.
I think Minnesota is a really good football team that is very underrated, and especially the style in which they play. This was a great matchup for them with Penn State. It really was. And I think Penn State's lack of ability for explosive plays and speed in the outside was apparent in this football game. The fact that Tyler Warren is the most explosive player in their skill group is a concern for me, big picture for Penn State. But with Drew Aller, Tyler Warren, and what they've done offensively, they're finding ways to win. Now, the special teams, getting a punt blocked, that's a concern. An extra point blocked after a touchdown being returned for 2 points for Minnesota, that's a concern. So the small things, hey, that hurts. But then James Franklin, right, with the fake punt late in the football game. You know, credit to you, man, because we're very critical of you not taking some of those risks to win big-time games, and you did that today, and that's why they were able to survive.
This is not the Minnesota Gophers team that I think we've become accustomed to in years past. They throw the ball. This is not a team that just runs, and Penn State didn't do great in the first half in the run defense.
No.
Who's got it cushier, though, than Penn State and the Nittany Lions? Because right now, at least as it stands.
Who's got it easier? Nobody.
That's right. You're not even playing in the Big Ten title game. You're likely going to have a first-round bye, so you get, like 30 days off.
Okay.
And they're probably going to host.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Hey, let him know, Matt. Let him know.
What do you want me to say?
No, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying.
They got the job done. They survived. I agree. Now, am I a big fan of a lot of these Big Ten teams right now? No, I'm not. But at the same time, the way that the system is structured right now, yes, they are getting, that get-out-of-jail-free card by being the 3rd best team in the conference right now.
Yeah, and one thing that I said last week is it just feels like Penn State is getting rewarded for their loss against Ohio State. And now that Ohio State gets a win against a top 5 opponent, a team that will more than likely be in the top 15, it just builds to the fact that Penn State lost to a good Ohio State team that is going to be playing in the Big Ten championship, possibly a Big Ten championship winner. But we look at Penn State, and every week is just like, I'm underwhelmed by that win.
I will say there is a difference between the Indiana and Penn State schedules. Like, Penn State going to USC and winning that game means something.
Right.
Going to Minnesota and winning that game means something. Penn State's had to go on the road quite a bit this year and win some close games. Indiana, it's very different.
And just we've discussed this multiple times throughout this year. It's just the nature of college football and the future of college football. I'm just telling everybody, buckle up. This is going to be every year for the next 2 decades. If this is how this system is going to be, the world of just we're that dominant versus every team, every single play, that is over. There's too many good players out there. There's too many good coaches. Things can change on a dime with NIL and all these things.
Facts.
The truth is that it's all going to be about matchups and how the playoff committee pairs you up,
Right.
and if you have a favorable road to the playoff or not. And right now, Penn State looks like they might be getting a favorable road potentially with how they get ranked.
Ole Miss had a pretty favorable road to the
They sure
SEC
did.
title game.
Show 'em, Sam.
Well, that kind of came to an end in the swamp today because we already know the result here. We talked about how Ole Miss lost to Florida, but here's how it played out. Pick it up in the top of the second quarter here. Florida quarterback DJ Lagway finding Elijah Badger here on the right side of your screen. The Arizona State transfer, by the way. Imagine if Arizona State had Elijah Badger still on their team. Gators take an early 7-0 lead. Next Ole Miss possession, 2nd and 6 for the Rebs. Jackson Dart throwing it up. Look who's back. Trey Harris.
Jackson Dart, Jackson Dart, Jackson Dart.
Yo, in the first half, he was slinging that thing.
was,
Let me just say.
Unfortunately for Trey Harris, though, he would leave with an apparent re-injury of that leg soon
wow.
after. That was a
That's the
great
one that I was
throw.
telling you about, Matt. You see that?
Man.
Caden Lee doing a little touchdown dance. Ole Miss up 14-7. Gators not backing down here. Nice pass to Jaden Baugh, who, by the way, was recruited as a linebacker to Florida. That's just how creative Billy Napier has been with his roster this year. And Baugh catching a touchdown pass there.
I like the young Frosh.
We go to the third. Start of the second half, Ole Miss. This is where the troubles begin. Micah Davis underneath the punt, and he fumbled.
Oh,
Yeah.
Special teams, theme of the day today, right?
Yeah.
The simple things not being executed the way that we thought, especially when we're getting closer to these championship windows.
Fourth quarter now, Florida, Montrell Johnson Jr., an incredible running back, smokes past the Ole Miss defense for a touchdown here. Florida going to regain their lead up by 7.
Really, I know Florida's offense to me at times very frustrating, but they are finding different ways to get their playmakers the ball, especially with different formations and running approaches.
It was kind of an interesting last 2 minutes for Jackson Dart and Ole Miss. He was just trying to force some throws. This one was an INT that was actually dropped, hit the floor.
Yep.
Okay, so he got a second chance.
We got another chance.
Okay,
here.
okay.
So where are we going to throw it? There is no Ole Miss player within 20 yards of this throw. I mean,
All right, well, I mean, it's real simple. It's like either the quarterback messed up or the receiver messed up, and that's just the truth of it. So there was no miscommunication. Somebody messed up.
Right.
And, Ole Miss just didn't play well enough throughout the day to win today.
5 teams still in the hunt. No team's going to clinch a berth this week. Now, we're keeping an eye on what's going on with Texas A&M and Auburn right now because that could change some things. But the Texas A&M game next week at Kyle Field could decide some things. Let's stay here in the swamp and talk about this Ole Miss team. But I want to ask the question, does this result say more about Ole Miss or does it say more about the Gators and what Billy Napier has done?
Go
Please.
ahead, sir. Go.
Billy.
Thank you.
Billy.
Yeah.
You the man.
You the man,
You the man. You
You did
keep
that,
doing
hey.
you, man. All right? Because I've been
Yeah.
critical of Billy.
We all
But
have.
if you go back and look out throughout the season, you know what? Dude's been closer than we really wanted to give him credit for, right? And I think it was just easy because he was down. We're like, hey, I'll kick him too. Why not? But the truth is, should have beat Tennessee, right? I mean, hey, debate, go
Shoulda,
for
coulda,
2,
woulda.
whatever. Okay, didn't put him away.
This is a Tennessee fan, by the way. He's not just saying.
Graham Mertz got hurt within that football game too.
Lagway gets hurt in the Georgia game. Who
Lagway
knows
gets
what
hurt in that
happens?
game. They're only down 7 with 4 minutes left to go in that football game. So Billy Napier, he has battled, he has crawled through 3 miles of dookie, just like Andy Dufresne there in Shawshank Redemption. And you know what? He's standing on the other side after today's win saying, we're okay.
Yeah.
All right? And he's right. He's okay because I think he's got the pulse of the team. I think this team believes in it.
Yeah.
It's a young football team. They're tough. I love DJ in the way that he plays. Ball is legit. And, hey, there's some playmakers in the defense too.
The thing about Florida that everyone needs to keep in mind that all of their losses this season have been against top 15 teams. That is crazy when you think about the difficult schedule that they've had to play them alongside with Georgia. And the games that DJ Lagway has started this year, aside from the one today, coming in, they were 3-1 in those games. And the one game that they lost was the one against Georgia, where he left the game injured. So when this kid is under center, this Florida team plays the closest towards their ceiling. And the story of this game for their win against Ole Miss wasn't just all DJ Lagway, because we like to give all the credit towards the quarterback when they lose, and we like to blame the quarterback when they lose.
Then you got a quarterback
Right?
on the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, right?
You're talking about the defense, though,
Yeah,
Skube,
yes,
right?
exactly. The defense. They held Ole Miss 0 for 3 in the red zone, and they missed a field goal, 2 turnovers on downs.
Yep.
That right there is essentially the ball game. And the turnovers by Jackson Dart at the end, I mean, we trust you as our leader, as our quarterback, and the season was all in your hands, and you threw it away, literally.
How close is Florida against, quote unquote, the two best offensive lines, LSU and Ole Miss?
Yeah.
At least coming into the season, they were touted as two of the best offensive lines. 6 sacks against LSU, 4 sacks against Ole Miss today. Like that's how good this defensive front is.
And I'll give you one more, Sammy. On
Yeah.
the other side of the ball, Montrell Johnson rushes for 100 yards. They rushed for 160 total on the day as an offense.
I see.
You know how many yards on average Ole Miss gives up on the ground?
like 72.
78 or
Yeah.
9 or
Yeah.
something
78,
like that.
78, yeah.
Okay, so for them to nearly double them up in the running game, hey, man, that means you're doing a lot of good things. We saw that Ole Miss defensive run pick apart Georgia.
Right.
We saw Florida today go head-to-head with them and win a lot of those battles.
And Ole Miss, a team that now has 3 losses, right? Their playoff hopes are probably done. But it started when they lost to Kentucky, Scoob, who
Yeah.
was playing Texas today trying to ruin their season.
Look what he did
Texas,
there.
let's see what you got against a
He's a pro.
solid Kentucky team. Quinn Ewers, right? Little senior day action over there. Let's start the first quarter. Quinn Ewers moves out the pocket and finds Gunnar Helms. Tight ends. Hey, they've been balling this year. That's all I've been seeing. Tight ends catch a touchdown this whole season. Second quarter now, game tied at 7. Jaden Blue takes the hands off, and he's going to punch his way into the end zone. Texas goes back in front. It is a 14-7 game. Next drive for Kentucky. Brock Vandergrift picked off by Jalen McDonald.
He
Check
was
out
bad.
this interception, guys.
He was bad today. They made a quarterback switch, and things started to get a little bit better.
Yeah, so Texas tries to take advantage. Ewers finds who else? Helm.
Wow.
For a second touchdown of the day. Tight ends. They're just so reliable.
He's like the Tyler Warren of Texas, it feels like.
That's a great point. He is.
Third quarter, Ewers is hit as he throws. And the ball's caught by Jamin Dumas Johnson. Pick 6. Kentucky cuts the lead to 10. Fourth quarter now. Texas looking for the dagger. This is huge. 4th and goal. Just gets into the end zone. Texas puts a nail in the coffin there. They get the win 31-14. But you just saw it. It was 24-14 at the time when they were just trying to get into the end zone. This game was closer than one would expect. And coming into this game, Matt, the question for me was how would this Texas offense perform? So in your evaluation, how do you feel about the Texas performance as we take a look at how Texas A&M is doing?
Not good. Not good.
Woo! Oh my God, that is awful. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I know playing at Auburn is difficult, but I would not expect it to be a 21-0 into the second quarter there. But for Texas, man, offensive line did their thing, ran the football for 250 yards today. Quinn Ewers, the short intermediate passing game, the millions of screens that Sark runs, really impressive. The Texas secondary, too, all over the place. Against a tough Kentucky opponent, although the record doesn't prove it, good win for Texas.
All right, time now for the playbook presented by Modelo. It all comes down to this in the SEC, Texas and Texas A&M. At Kyle Field next weekend, Matty Sims back to the touchscreen to break it all down. Let's start with Texas A&M and Marcel Reed. He wasn't the starter at the start of the season, but he has really helped them get to where they are right now. What do you like from him?
I love the fact that he is a true dual-threat quarterback, and what they get to do, Texas A&M, very strong offensive line, right? That is really the strength of their offensive unit. Now without Le'Veon Moss, right? They're that Batman-Robin duo in the backfield. The key will now be focused on how can we get Marcel going on the ground to keep the balance as they run and passing attack of this offense. What we see with this play right here, South Carolina, great defensive front. They match this with a bear front. So essentially what that means is that they're covering every single Texas A&M offensive lineman across the board with the defender. When we get this look, now Texas A&M has a great advantage of blocking down this whole line, right? So the extra tight end at the top, everyone is blocking down. We are going to pull a guard out to kick out this defensive end that's coming up the field, and we're going to actually pull the backside tackle to be the lead man that leads the way up for Marcel Reed on this quarterback design run. And this is what I love about these concepts. You get an extra blocker with the running back, and you get your athletic quarterback going right, down the field in the teeth of a defense. Now, this is a talented defensive front.
Yeah.
You see, right, the strength of the Texas A&M offensive line creating that wall right there. And on a 2nd and 10 football play right there, your quarterback gets a nice gain of about 9.5, 10 yards there to start, this football game off here in the second quarter. And that's what I love about what Texas A&M can do, because they can tighten formations and still be focused on the running game whilst then doing these things, right? Now, young quarterback, obvious passing situation, 2nd and 10. We're in an empty formation, or we're going to motion late here into an empty formation with the back going out here late. And now we're going to get an easy completion for our young quarterback to feel confident against another talented, right, defensive front, right, one of the best. I mean, they can get after the passer. So we get a late motion out here. And now with this look right here, we have a two-shell type of defense, okay, by the South Carolina defense. All right, we have 2 backers on the field right here, and we have a nickel back here playing in space. With this motion, this whole unit now is going to slide open in space to cover the field more, because it is a 3-receiver set now. So we're going to get more of a balanced shift.
And what's that tell him?
What that tells him is that now the whole play design is what? To take advantage of my guy here in the slot versus who? A linebacker. So now we're going to get a guy with speed against a big man in space. And typically the guys with speed, they win those matchups a lot. He's going to set him up. He's going to press vertical. And this is essentially a one-man route. Marcel is just making sure that this area of the field is open. It is in this situation. He's going to set up this linebacker cross face for an easy completion and get a lot of yards after the catch right there. So that was most likely designed like an option route to give the receiver the ability to go break in, break out, or sit versus zone. And what they're doing is they're making the game very simple for the young quarterback. Let's do a one-on-one matchup with a spread formation so he can see it, and also alleviate the pressure too of knowing when he's hot and all those things too, so he can play fast.
Marcel Reed's been great for Texas A&M.
Yes.
This game next week is kind of a different level, because the winner gets to go to Atlanta to play in the SEC title game.
No doubt.
Now, Quinn has played in quite a few of these games, whether it be the Red River shootout or other rivalry games. He's going to be ready to go. What have you liked what you've seen from him this year?
Well, what I love about this team, right, and what they do, Sark, he has so many different ways to help his quarterback just get out of those tough moments. We even saw today in the football game versus Kentucky. They have more screenplays than I didn't even know was possible you can design.
Bubble screens everywhere.
I mean, they got like 50 screenplays, it seems like, every single game. And with the shifts and motions that they have, that is their greatest asset. So a lot of moving parts here for defenses to focus on. So here we have the Arkansas football game. We had a back that lined up in the stack formation here before the snap. We're going to send him in motion around an orbit motion. We have done on these breakdowns multiple receiver screens, running back screens at the line of scrimmage. This is all going to be that smoke and mirrors action with this right now. The whole play design is this. We are going to fake outside zone to the back. He will be our check swing. We have a shallow cross by the tight end. And when we're going to just have like a nice smooth in cut here by the outside receiver. The shallow cross is what we would call in the NFL world, it's an eliminator shallow. And what does that mean? We're eliminating a defender from Quinn Ewers' read, because we are basically saying to this tight end, go and get covered by the middle linebacker to make the zone behind him that much more open. So when we see this motion, all right, motion at the line of scrimmage, Arkansas shifts now and rotates to a 3-deep look, 5 under. So they have 5 defenders right here, right, in this area, all playing underneath, trying to stop either a run or some sort of short intermediate pass, what Texas does so well. With the action in the backfield, look at Quinn eyes immediately. Where does it go? To the back. He's literally looking at him. Not going to throw him to him for a second. What he wants to do, though, is affect these defenders here that are looking and cueing on Quinn. They adjust with his eyes. Okay, they shift. Now he goes back to who? Their talented tight end, who is running to be occupied by the middle linebackers. As we see that, look at the vacated window again by this defense, leaving this hole wide open in the back end for him to just throw a beautiful in cut in rhythm to Bolden for an easy completion, a rhythm play right there. And you see the beautiful rhythm by there. That's the key for Quinn. Can Sark keep him in that rhythm consistently with their downfield passing concepts.
For all the changes that Texas had last year at the skill position,
Yes.
4 players out to the NFL, they bring in all these transfers. One of the biggest difference makers, it seems, is just their speed and these play concepts that allow them to get open in space. That's what Quinn wants to do, and that's what Sark wants to do.
No doubt. And now here we're going to see an opposite approach to Sark, right? With Marcel Reed, we saw tight, condensed. We have a strong offensive line. Let's help our running back get into it, right, with that talented offensive line and be physical. Now Sark is going to condense the formation, but be aggressive in the passing game. And what is he trying to do? He is trying to make the Arkansas defenders, whoever is covering the running back and man, which I believe is this defender right here, to work through all of the traffic on the back end. So this is a setup play where we're basically running, you know what we're doing? We're doing the picket fence in basketball. We're just trying to create a wall of people to distract where we're trying to go with the football. We're trying to get Quintravian Wisner the football in the backfield here on a rail route. So he's running a rail, okay? On the ball, over the ball is the rule. He is running an OTB route. Gunnar Helm is running a shallow cross again, but he is the pick man for now the opposite guy coming across on that shallow cross. So the read is this, Sam. It's number 1 to the back. It's number 2 to the shallow cross. It's number 3 to the OTB. So it's a pure progression across the board. Rail, shallow, OTB. And what we see here is a lot of moving parts again, condensed formation, fight through the traffic. Because of this is the guy that I told you that was covering the back of the backfield, right? He's got 2 people running right past him, right? And with that, he gets lost in the fray. And now it's an easy pitch and catch for your quarterback out of the backfield for an explosive play in a really close game at the moment right there. And look how easy that is for your quarterback. Yeah. That's a great way to build confidence for this football team. And that seems to be the recipe for Sark each and every week, where he has those 5 or 6 plays for Quinn no matter what. Hey, don't worry. We're going to get you back in rhythm because we're going to get you an easy completion here. And that's really the battle that Texas A&M has. The formations, the shifts, the motions, and also, do you have the discipline to pay attention to what is actually your rule and assignment on every single play?
It's going to be crazy to see that atmosphere at Kyle Field. Can Texas be able to play within that atmosphere? That will be one of the biggest questions, I think.
Awesome.
And can Marcel Reed, in probably the biggest game of his life, show out on his home field?
And hey, I'm excited too because I am so glad Texas A&M, I was honored enough to be at a few of these when my brother played.
Yes.
And I am so pumped that they are now a part of the SEC family, making the atmosphere that much more wild and rowdy. So it's going to be a fun one for sure.
It certainly is. That was the playbook presented by Modelo. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Maddie.
sir. Thank you.
Time
Hey,
now
watch it, bro.
for
Watch
the
it, bro.
2-minute drill presented by
I'm in
the
here.
Wells
I'm in here.
Fargo Active Cash Credit Card.
Yes.
Who would have thought at the start of the year, guys, Syracuse and UConn would be 7-3. Here is star running back Cam Edwards fighting through the pile. He's going to race down 71-yard score. Unfortunately for my Huskies, they would lose by a touchdown. But still a good season for the Fighting
They
Seminoles.
battled. They battled.
Hey, all right, let's go to Wake Forest, Miami. How about Mish Powell? He takes candy from a baby. He's going all the way home just like the kids do on Thanksgiving. 76-yard pick six for Miami. Huge play there for the Canes as they just had a 3-point lead at that moment. I mean, this swung that thing wide open. They would win it 42-14.
Not a lot of bright spots for Ole Miss at the Swamp today, but how about John Saunders Jr. picking off the tip ball, his 3rd interception of the season. Incredible concentration, football instincts. The Rebs say bye-bye to their playoff hopes.
Tip balls and overthrows. You got to get those, Sam. UTEP Miami. UTEP Tennessee. Brew McCoy is a DB that turns wide receiver in the middle of the play. Just like Chris Brown said, give me that. Hey, Matt, you love when a DB, gets right into the wideout, runs it for him. That boy was on him like white on rice. Tennessee wins it 56-0.
All right, battle at the top of the Conference USA. Sam Houston, Jacksonville State. Check out the grab from Simeon Evans all the way across the field here. He's their top wideout on the team. Only had 16 yards receiving today, though. And fortunately for Jacksonville State, they win their 8th straight, clinch a spot in the Conference US title.
That should be worth 60 yards receiving. UMass Georgia. Those Minutemen came to play this week. A.J. Hurston says, I catch. He's playing on rookie mode with the game sliders up, y'all, because that's a catch over 2 people.
I was
There's 2 of them.
I was worried. Zoomass was keeping it close with Georgia today. That was, that was
Hey,
getting
it got a little crazy. They won it 59-21, though. Georgia did, of course.
Hey,
Yours.
congrats to UMass for playing a tougher schedule in the SEC than Texas.
Wow.
Sorry.
High school football here. This is a
Oh.
Minnesota championship game. How about a little rugby play? That's James Vanderbosch taking a couple of defenders with him across the goal line. This
Is that 7-man football? This looks like 7-man football.
This is what we call yak.
9-man football? Okay,
Yeah.
they be switching it up all over the place.
How
9-man
old
football.
is James? Because
All
he
right.
looks like a grown man there.
Yeah, right? Okay, this is Minnesota Penn State. PJ Fleck, he has this 5-second rule thing going on. We call this a 2-minute drill, but he's got the 5-second rule, drops gum, puts it right back in the mouth
dials in. He's ready to go.
With a guy like that, he just needs to be locked in with the gum in his mouth. Whatever, Fleck.
A little
Whatever.
turf. Tastes better.
Time now for AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. We are back here at the touchscreen, and we have put together our top 12 teams according to the College Football Show. That is us. So, based on the results that we know, and we're talking 8:50 p.m. on Saturday, November 23rd. So,
we
in
don't
case
know
anything crazy changes tonight, but based on the results today, we've kind of moved Arizona State up into that BYU
As of
spot.
now, they're the favorite in the Big
they're
12,
the
yeah.
favorite in the Big 12. So again, the 5 highest ranked conference champions get auto bids. We have also, as you can see, put Indiana out as the first team out right now.
Yep. You moved
What else?
SMU in.
Moved
as well
SMU
in
in.
the bracket.
Yeah, Alabama got a little bit of a bump up, and so did Georgia. So
And Tennessee.
Yeah, and Boise State gets to stay in that first round by location. So there's definitely going to be a shift within the rankings here. Notre Dame obviously still playing, a couple teams still playing here, but that's how we have it set up. And I know some people might say, oh, well, Tennessee beat Alabama, so should they still be ahead of Alabama? Yes, because last week that's where they were. Tennessee was the first team out. But right now, this is how we have it set up, and the committee is still yet to make a decision, but how do you see it being played out, Sam?
It's for funsies.
It's for fun, but so Indiana was ranked 5th
Yeah.
last week. We put them out, but do you think there is any scenario with all the chaos that we saw today, they're still in the top 12?
I think they might still be in.
Because they were at 5,
Yeah.
so you're dropping them more than 7 spots.
Yeah,
I don't know. Have we seen anybody drop that far yet so far this year? I don't-
BYU.
There's been
BYU
a few.
dropped.
BYU was at, I think, the 6th spot?
Yeah.
6 or 7
6 or
spot?
7 spots.
6 or 7. Okay.
Yeah, and BYU,
Yeah.
remember, they dropped towards the 12th spot. And
The only
they
saving
ended
grace
up over
Indiana
there.
has was it was second best team in the country.
Yeah.
And
in a lot of
Indiana could
people's
still
eyes.
be ranked 12th, and Arizona State could not be ranked in the top 12, but because they're seen as the Big 12 favorite, they would get in the first round, as you see with that golden 12 next to their name.
I guess the only thing that I could see the committee maybe doing is
Yeah.
just swapping Indiana and SMU.
Okay.
That would be probably the only
Yeah, I mean,
the only way that Indiana would be in the field. I
the
think.
probability of 2 ACC or Big 12 teams is very slim. So I guess that's really a fair one to say, and that's
Yeah.
where I think Indiana does have another ace up their sleeve
Yeah.
situation.
All right, let's do a little round robin here. We're just going to pick.
Go ahead.
We're just going to pick a team. You want me to start?
Go ahead, start us off.
All right.
And you can do this too online, everybody. Remember that.
Yeah, it's a fun game for everybody to play. Let's see.
All right. I'm going to take. SMU's going to Penn State, so I think that's an easy one.
That's Happy Valley. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a chance. Good. What do you got, Scoob? Go
All right, so look at us seeing Alabama, Tennessee going against each other once again. But Alabama right now would have that home game. And then look at that. We got Alabama, Texas. That would be heated. What do you got over here?
Matt doesn't
What?
like that. Yeah. Matt
What,
doesn't like that.
bro?
Tennessee fan. Yeah.
Take it easy.
Take it
bro.
easy,
This
buddy.
is a whole
okay?
SEC collage
Yeah.
here.
All right. Well, you know what? Here, let me bother a few other SEC fans out there in Georgia.
Are you
Notre Dame.
trolling? Are you trolling?
No, honestly,
Are you
I really
trolling?
think they can win that football game.
Yeah.
I do. All right, I do. Now, is it likely? I mean, we'll see. But just, I'm going with Notre Dame in this situation.
All right.
So, hey,
All right,
what do you got to do
we gotta
now?
roll. Is it me or you?
It's your
you.
turn,
Okay,
pal.
let's roll through
You
this.
go,
all right?
pal.
This is another scenario where it might be a plus to be the 5th ranked team.
All right, and
Yes.
and why it gets spicy here is because this team has already gone against this team. So if we go a little something like this, guess
Okay.
what? We got Oregon moving on. And they have a chance to go ahead against Ohio
Pick
State.
Ohio State if that's what you want to go.
Yeah. So we got Ohio State and Oregon.
Neutral
going
site,
at-
by the way. Neutral site.
Yes, exactly. Then Penn State, Miami. Who do we have? Two teams we really don't trust. Penn State, moving on. Wow.
Yep.
Defense.
Taking defense is right.
I'm taking Alabama here to move on.
Oh, man. Okay.
And then in the championship game, who do we have? Oregon, Ohio State.
Can I pick this game?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to see if you're going to put Penn State in the national championship.
Yeah, I just can't see
Let's
it.
go ahead and go with Oregon.
That would be the third time that they have played this year. How crazy would that be?
I mean, I can see it happening. I really can. And I would love to see it happen, though, too.
And then the
Great
winner of the
matchup.
national championship, why not the Oregon Ducks win it? That is what we have determined. We had Ohio State winning it the other day, but
this is it, though. You're right. And, like, this is the key, though. Hey, are they the best team in the country? But
Does
you
it
can
really
see
matter?
it's the matchups.
Yeah.
That's the key. There's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of interesting matchups, too.
Yeah.
And just like the way that you go into these games with a lot of time to prepare for the opposing team, you can see how other teams can kind of find new ways and wrinkles, right, to win these one-off matchups.
And not just matchups. How healthy are you?
That's true, too. Health is
This
huge.
is the longest college football season that we have seen to date. You're essentially playing an NFL season.
Right.
So depth is going to be a key thing in every single one of these matchups. And with the way that the transfer portal is working, teams don't necessarily have the same amount of depth that we've had in the past because guys who are second, third strings that can actually play ball leave to go start somewhere else.
No doubt. And just last note, I know we got to run, but like even Ohio State, if they were to lose to Oregon in the Big Ten championship, to win 4 in a row after that, to win a national championship, it's a lot of games. So it's a lot.
It's a lot of games. All right, we got an update in the Texas A&M and Auburn game here. Auburn came out firing, guys, for a team that has been the doormat of the SEC this year. Jarquez Hunter with a 2-yard score to get things going, and then Peyton Thorne, who has been, I don't know, just kind of bad this year, is airing it out.
Oh, that's a good ball right there.
Beautiful
Thorne.
throw and rhythm.
Cam Coleman with the score, and then it would be Peyton Thorne to Cam Coleman again.
And the strength of this Texas A&M team really is the defense side of the football. And we've seen at times this year, though, they can give up some points. And this is a really poor showing for this football team right now.
I tell you one thing that doesn't help. It doesn't help with Notre Dame with their resume because Texas A&M was their best win.
You see that caption on the bottom?
Ain't nobody worried about that, okay? Ain't nobody worried about that.
We should be worried about our picks this year because, our picks have not been great. We are going to pick the Clemson, South Carolina game, starting to pick some of the games coming up next week in rivalry week. I'm going to take Clemson because they're still hanging around in the ACC title game. A little bit of surprise because I've been really high on South Carolina.
Yeah, you were literally just willing to put them into the playoffs. You have them as our second team out, and you have them lose it to
Debate
Clemson.
between who wins that game, maybe who will be on that line.
South Carolina, for me, Lenora Sellers playing really good football. The defense, most talented defensive front, I think, in all of college football, honestly. Violent team, too. I think it's going to be a very tough matchup
right there with
for
you.
Cade Klubnik to run the football efficiently the way that Clemson has.
Yeah, that front right there, Dylan Stewart, Kennard, I mean, those guys know how to get after the quarterback, and that running game for South Carolina has been dominant all season. It's going to come down to special teams as well, and we know that South Carolina is really good on the special side of the ball.
All right, massive game at Kyle Field next week. We just broke down Marcel Reed and Quinn Ewers, their film. Who's going to win it? I think, Texas, first year in the SEC, going up and trying to win and get to Atlanta to play an SEC title game. I'm going to take the Longhorns to win that game on the road.
Why you got to say it all shy like that?
Well, I'm not sure because I'm not liking what I see from A&M right now, down 21-7.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going with Texas. The Longhorns are the better football team. I just believe in the fact that Sark and Quinn will figure out ways to do it. The loss of Le'Veon Moss to me for Texas A&M, just in multiple ways, emotionally, but also just the guy, the leadership, the way that he runs for that team. It's too big for me, so I'm going with Texas. I think just a better built team.
You going to save the graphic, Scoob? You going to save the graphic or no?
I am going to go with Texas. I'm sorry, I'm not going to save the graphic. I don't believe in Texas A&M after what I just saw. But ready? Hear this wild statement.
Yeah.
Would Sark end up making that quarterback switch again in the college football playoff the same way that Nick Saban did with Tua?
Why you got to do that?
Why
you got to do that?
I know we got to move on, but
guy can't get one day. You know what? Not even an hour.
That's a Scooby-Doo, all right?
That's a Scooby-Don't, man. Just let it be. Yeah. All right, guys. Brought you a gift today. Freshly made donuts. Ooh, there's some good ones in there. You look like the sprinkles type.
Hold on now. Hey, Matt, bringing donuts for the squad? Now that's a Scooby-Doo. Go ahead.
I can't wait for my salmon.
Microwaving fish at work? That's a Scooby-Don't.
I need my protein.
Ugh. Yeah, now washing your hands out the bathroom, that's a Scooby-Doo!
That's it. That's game. That's right now. In your face.
Hey. This is the war room, brother. Cheering for your team in the war room? That's a Scooby-Don't. Come on, boo. Who is this? Boo this man! You're rocking with Matt Sims, Sam Ravech, and Skubie Mageza. This college football season has been as advertised. A lot of things have happened, both on and off the football things, and we're just gonna call them do's and don'ts. Some things Skubie don't do, other things Skubie do. Yes, we're going there. What's the point of having your name as Skubie if you're not going to have a segment called Scooby-Doos and Scooby-Don'ts? So we're going to start off with one play that we're calling the celebration of the year. Incarnate words, Jalen Wathall makes him say, on the 50-yard touchdown, but this makes us say, na-na-na-na. Yes, head Selly. That man had Amon-Ra St. Brown and Drake London pressing copy and paste in the NFL. Jalen, you're a trendsetter, my boy. We gonna call that a Scooby-Doo. Yes, so shout out to him for that. Yeah. But Scooby don't do this. He don't fake injuries. Guys, I just recovered from knee surgery literally a couple weeks ago. Carmen's gonna beat my ass for playing stupid games if I go ahead and start faking injuries out on the field. But this was meant to play smart games. But come on, man, we're football players. We gonna call that a Scooby what, guys? A Scooby don't. Nah. Scooby don't do that. Yeah. Scooby don't fake injuries, but Scooby do love his friends. Cause friends, hey, what would we do without them? How about go to a live football game, no matter what Mother Nature says? This brother bought a raft to save his homie from flooding so they can go see Georgia, Bama. And it was the story of the weekend. They ended up on Countdown to Game Day. Everybody was talking about it, but they saw their team lose. But hey, it was still for my dogs. And when it's for my dogs, you know what Scooby does. Scooby-Doo! That's most definitely what we love. But hey, when it comes down to my dogs, there's a time and a place for everything. And for Jake Pope, he didn't get the message. Out on the field celebrating with his family friends from Ole Miss after they upset his team, Georgia. No, you gotta be able to read the room, Jake. You gotta be better than that, Jake. Scooby don't do that. That's why we gonna call that a Scooby don't. Nah, Scooby don't do
I'm
that.
half and half on that one. I don't know.
No.
All right,
Fellas,
I'm with you.
You gotta be able to read the room after your team loses. But then, listen, speaking of tough losses, how about stinky losses? I just want to go ahead and shout out to Fran Brown, the Syracuse head coach's friends and families that have to deal with his odor after his team loses. Take a listen.
Honestly, I got like a ritual. Like when we lose, I ain't even getting a shower till early this morning. I just be mad. I just brush my teeth. You know, winners get washed. You know what I'm saying? I'm a loser. I just kind of waited a little bit.
Yeah, even if his team loses in a close game, he still stinks. We're calling that a Scooby-Don't. Yeah, Scooby-Doos and don'ts. A lot of do's and don'ts in the college football world this year, but hey, It's another edition this year.
He loves it.
And it's another edition of the College Football Show. Guys, you enjoy yourself today?
Hey, that's a Scooby-Doo right there. Look at that right there.
Shout out to Courtney for this design real quick. It really do look like your boy.
It does.
Hey, this has been the College Football Show presented by who, Sam?
AT&T. We will see you on Tuesday, by the way, for another rankings reaction show.
That's what we do, man. Hope y'all enjoy the show. Be safe. Peace.
Thank God you asked him.
But what would you? We've said it for.